Welcome to Share Views with my co-host Stefano Barbaglio, who's Director at Cassiopeia Services, and by our guest, who is Marcelo Bravo, and you're from Oxford Pharmascience Group.
Yes, good morning, thank you.
Right, we're just discussing before we came on the nitty-gritty of what you do. It's a little bit different from what maybe people expect from the bioscience or biotechnology area. Can you just explain that?
Yeah, so we're not a biotech company, we're a specialty pharma company. We redevelop drugs to make them better, safer, and easier to take. And we're basically applying drug delivery to improve the clinical profile of existing drugs that have already been approved and they're used in clinical practice but have problems.
But wouldn't it be easier just to start from scratch?
No, it's not. As you know, developing a new drug may take years. There's all kinds of information out there, but it may take up to 10 years to develop a new drug. It may take billions of dollars in investment. Redeveloping a drug is our projects are quicker to market, lower cost, lower risk.
So this is trying to improve somebody else's homework, basically. Somebody else has done the dirty work, and you're just tweaking, and you're changing, and you're trying to finesse what they've done.
Yes. So let's look at ibuprofen. Ibuprofen was invented here in the UK by the Boots Company. In 1964, the original patent went off patent in 1984. It then became a big drug in prescription markets. It was the first, second generation NSAID, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. We all are familiar with Nurofen, the product that eventually went over the counter. Now, the main problem with NSAIDs that if you take them at high doses for long periods of time, as you do when you become over 65 and you start having all kinds of conditions that require the chronic use of NSAIDs, you can develop gastric ulcers. The NSAIDs do cause damage in your GI tract. And by applying our technology, we reduce that risk, make the drug safer.
Well, let's say you made this drug safer. How do you get paid, or how do you make money out of it? How does Oxford Pharmascience make money out of it?
Yeah, our model is a licensing model. So we look for partners, pharmaceutical companies in the pain space that would bring this product to market. We're a company that develops the dossier that's required to then apply for approval from a regulator. So we develop the technology. The technology is proprietary. There's patents around it. We run clinical trials. We put together all the documentation that you would need then to go and apply for approval from a regulator, be it the FDA or be it the MHRA here in the UK or the EMA in Europe. Right.
So Marcelo, you provided an update last week, so a clinical regulatory update. Would you like just to highlight the key point of the announcement? And also I would like you to explain a little bit more about the OXP0 platform and the redevelopment of the drugs.
Okay. Yes, so the update last week was a clinical, regulatory, and technical update. And the highlights of that, there were several things there, but the key highlights were we've started dosing of a phase 1 PK study to demonstrate that we improved the release properties of the platform. The second key highlight is that the FDA has confirmed that it will provide responses on the regulatory, clarifying the regulatory pathway during Q1. And the third important message there was that we've synthesized a new target. So ketorolac is a very potent NSAID. It's the most potent of the NSAIDs. It's comparable to morphine in certain settings. We've synthesized that in the lab. Now this ketorolac is very, very aggressive in your GI tract, so potentially commercially is a very interesting target for us. Now, what is the platform? What is OXP0? It's a drug delivery system. And it's a drug delivery system where the drug is sitting within a matrix. And what we do is that we control the properties of this matrix. And in doing that, we can affect the way the drug is released into the body, and in doing that, affect its clinical profile. So in the case of the NSAIDs, we've demonstrated that by affecting the way the drug comes into your body, it reduces the damage the NSAID causes on your GI mucosa. It reduces GI mucosal damage. It also, because the drugs within this matrix is completely taste masked, and it allows for multiple formulations. So you can put in products for children without, because these NSAIDs actually burn, they irritate, the back of your throat. That's what they do in your GI tract. And so multiple benefits on the NSAIDs, but it's a platform. It's not just about NSAIDs. It can be applied to a number of drugs. It can be applied to statins, another very large drug class. It can be applied to biphosphonates, osteoporosis, also a very large drug class, GABA analogs, pregabalin, gabapentin, and so on. We're now exploring the application in further drug categories, and we're very excited about that.
I've got a couple of questions. I mean, presumably the big drug companies are always trying to improve and reinvent the wheel on painkillers or whatever it is. So they're doing you're doing what they're doing. Presumably they have a bigger budget. The other thing, from an investment point of view, if you come up with something, like a new type of painkiller or an improved painkiller, that should be, I presume, a multi-billion-dollar win. So the upside could be massive if you hit the jackpot. You don't have to hit it very often.
Yeah. Okay. So commenting on that, I guess you're trying to say,
you've got competition in terms. I presume you have competition in terms of the drug companies. But if you do compete with them successfully, you could be as big as them. People ask me, how come big companies are not doing this? And if you look at it, there's a lot of activity, but 80% of the funding and 80% of the money that's been spent, in phase 3 trials and so on, is possibly around heart health or oncology, and perhaps now increasingly, Alzheimer's and so on. So pioneering areas or new areas. Yeah, and if you look at pain, there's not much going on at a large scale. It's actually a very hard problem, and it takes millions of dollars of investment. So companies are betting in other places, and they're not doing what we're doing, which is looking at opportunities to repurpose old drugs. That's the niche where we play. Now we work in collaboration with these companies. So the way it works, if you look at big pharma, it's working with biotech and small, specialty pharma like our company. We work, there's a synergy there where we are developing, we're exploring, and then we bring the assets to them because they have the ability to scale and launch them in market. So they can almost outsource to you in a way. They could say, we're producing this drug. Can you try and improve on it? Can you try and beat it and come back to us? In essence, that's what's happening. Now, can these opportunities be blockbusters? Yes, they can. I mean, the NSAIDs market, it's all off patent, right? All these drugs went off patent in the last couple of decades, but it's large. It's $12 billion. It's growing. And it has unmet patient needs. If we are bringing what I consider disruptive technology to that market, it will eventually capture market share and create significant value for us and our partners.
So picking up on that, Marcelo, what's the stage you are in commercial discussions?
Commercial discussions are ongoing. So we started last year, so we've been at it for a year now, and it seems like a long time, but actually, in this industry, it's not a long time, right? We started last year, and we spent most of the year, our initial foray into the market was aimed at consumer health companies. These are companies that sell their products over the counter. Why? Because on the NSAIDs, about 40% of the market has switched over the counter. You can buy it without a prescription. And that was a good exercise. At the end of that exercise, and we announced that in September, we had identified there was significant interest in what the technology could do in those markets, which is about, GI safety, but also about taste masking, doing all kinds of new products for children and this and that. At the same time, we identified there were areas that needed further clarity, and what we said in September, and the key one was regulatory. What will it take? What will regulators? What will the FDA want to know in order to approve this product for sale over the counter, and what kind of claim can you make? That's why we've gone to the FDA with the question. We then, and in Q4, we started reaching out to prescription players in the prescription markets, so pharma companies. And I got to say that in the last months, we're getting strong traction. And as we started the year, we're both focusing in that market and ramping up our efforts. And the reason is simply because that GI safety claim is very relevant and is clearer. The way forward commercially is clearer in that market. And at the moment, I'm focusing on that.
Is there any specific news or milestones that investors should look for this year?
Yeah, so as I said, the announcement we made last week, a key element of that was the feedback from the FDA. That is a major milestone for us. Why? Because we went to the two divisions, the OTC division and the RX division. We're going to get feedback, clarity on what will it take to get the product approved for sale and what kind of claim you can make from both the OTC market and the RX market in the US, which is a critical market, that will facilitate and accelerate the progression of our commercial discussions. So therefore, that feedback from the FDA is a critical milestone. That's going to come during Q1. Also during Q1, we'll have the first results of this set of studies we're doing on PK. That's going to help as well. And hopefully in the next few months, I'll be able to announce progression not only on our commercial discussions, but also further development of the pipeline.
Sounds like exciting times. Marcelo Bravo from Oxford Pharmascience, thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Thank you.